Before we get started, I want to say this is a non-spoiler review. There's some stuff I'll tread on lightly since part of them weren't even shown in the trailers. And yes, I'll address some stuff we already know going into the movie already. So at this point, there's not going to be little spoilers unless I feel like if it wasn't mentioned or I feel like if this isn't worth talking about, I might as well talk about it here. And now, quote A Train, because I feel like, yeah, this is the best way to summarize this whole movie in a nutshell.
Double Standard, which just finished reshooting its reshoots, making it the most expensive TV show ever. So, it's gotta be good, am I right?
So Captain America Brave New World is the newest film in the MCU, springboarding off of Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, and now brings us as Sam Wilson as Captain America. Thunderbolt Ross is now president, trying to gain trust. A big conspiracy is going on, and here we have a mix of two movies in one. I'll get into that later, but also the fact that I gotta address this because this movie has been through a lot of reshoots. At first, they had one movie already had planned until they had to change a couple things twice, where I feel like, okay, just for a solo film, that's a lot you're actually adding in and actually taking out of this film. Also, I kind of want to address this because this is my own personal opinion, and I feel like, yeah, even though we're hearing things, let's just give our own opinions. Actually, watch the thing before people judge, because for some reason I feel like, yeah, reshoots happen, but then again, not every movie that's been reshot is bad. There's been a process since the beginning, and some hate I heard online for this movie feels kind of forced. I want to start off by saying that Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson in this movie, something about him where I feel like, okay, he's been a side character throughout all the MCU movies so far, and we've seen how he is leading Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's earned the mantle of Captain America at this point, and also I like how in this movie specifically, it's called Captain America, but him as the lead doesn't feel like a replacement of Steve. I know people joke that he should have gotten the serum injected into him, even though I feel like, yeah, this is what makes him stand out being different because just because he has the serum doesn't mean that's the thing that makes him Captain America, a la John Walker. Being Captain America isn't just the shield or the serum inside of him. Standing your ground, having to make the tough decisions, and the most important, being good. That's the one thing that actually made Steve perfect to be captain, and he actually saw that in Sam. Even his motive for wanting to help Isaiah Bradley, since he was mind controlled, but he feels like he's innocent and I wanted to keep him out of the prison system. And it shows how much he's handling the responsibilities of being Sam, but also the fact that everybody sees him now as Captain America. I even like Torres as Falcon too, because you got to remember, we did see him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but also the fact that it's, oh, we're incorporating these Disney Plus characters now on the big screen. So seeing as though, okay, in the show, he wasn't even in it for most of the time, and you only saw bits and pieces. He works well with Sam, and he has good chemistry, and you kind of see the difference in tone where I feel like, okay, they work together and they see each other more as friends, like how Steve saw his relationship with Sam and Bucky, where he feels like, okay, they didn't work together in the show a lot, but you got to remember Bucky was more associated with Steve Rogers, and he doesn't even know Sam like how he knows Steve. Lastly, I just got to say, one, I feel like I shouldn't even be surprised, but I feel like everybody we already know is going to be part of the MCU at some point, or some big actor is going to be joining this new franchise thing. But Harrison Ford, surprisingly, he was actually good as Thunderbolt Ross. For some reason, I thought, oh, he's just gonna be Thunderbolt Ross. He's not gonna be in it for too much of the movie. It's like, oh, he's just there as support. But weirdly, they actually brought back some past MCU events, and I feel like, oh, so they're not just bringing him in to be like, oh, I'm just here to transform, be a big thing at the very end of this movie. And I like the fact that he's not a villain this time going around. He's an antagonist, but then again, he's not a bad guy in this case. Let's talk about the action because I feel like there's been a lot of changes, but then again, I don't even know what's real or what was or what originally was. Most of the action was grounded, and I kind of do like how they're showing little aspects of the new suit. CGI is noticeable in parts, but then again, I feel like, yeah, you're gonna notice it, and also with that weird green screen thing they're going around, you kind of do notice it. One sequence, I feel like, okay, they put out all their CGI money and everything here looked perfect. But other times, you feel like, okay, there's a lot going on. I don't even know if they could have touched on it a little bit more, but I feel like everything here is just, yeah, this is sequence, cut, 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 try to add this in. And it's strange because there are some moments where I feel like there are two characters in a room together, but you notice that they're real. But then again, part of them, I feel like the background and everything there doesn't. It threw me off a little bit, but also it's kind of funny the fact that before this movie, they showed off the trailers for Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, and weirdly, Fantastic Four is the only one that actually looks natural. Thunderbolts has that weird gray filter going on, and it is kind of distracting. Now, here's the part where I gotta say, for a solo Captain America movie, there's a lot of things jam packed into a 2 hour movie where I feel like, okay, this could have been divided into two different films. More alike, I feel like this could have been two different solo movies. Like Sam Wilson is front and center, and we're seeing some returning characters from Falcon and Winter Soldier. But then again, there are a lot of characters where I feel like, okay, they were incorporated here as a little mini sequel to the Incredible Hulk. A couple of Hulk characters are brought here, and also the fact that the main villain is the leader. Most people wanted to see him come back to the MCU at some point, possibly in a Hulk solo film. But I feel like even though he's the villain here, there are a couple of things where I feel like he wasn't even meant to be the villain. I'm not even sure if he was supposed to be the villain. You don't see him a lot, and when he shows up on screen, I feel like, yeah, this is one of the disposable Marvel villains. I feel like any other villain could have been better here. Without a doubt, I gotta say, all the Red Hulk stuff was amazing. That whole sequence with Sam, I could say, yes, you noticed a little bit of green screen, but besides that, everything there was amazing. And also, I like the fact that, oh yeah, we're bringing back original Rage Monster Hulk. A lot of his scenes are shown in the marketing, but besides that, every time he's on screen, and I feel like, yeah, they actually did something. I feel like, yeah, this is what we all wanted with the Incredible Hulk. And the fact that current day Hulk isn't like that, it's kind of nice to see it go back to old fashioned. Some of the reshoots were noticeable at times, but also you can kind of tell what characters were or weren't supposed to be there because I feel like, yeah, earlier on when they revealed some, oh, these are characters that are going to be in this film throughout some McDonald's toys and some Funko leaks. There were some added last minute because Giancarlo Esposito, as Sidewinder, he doesn't do anything. He's just there as a side threat. And I feel like, yeah, if you're going to use Giancarlo Esposito in the MCU, it could have been for something better. Like, if he was the main villain, that would have made a little bit more sense since we're dealing with Captain America centric villains. One other character was changed, and I feel like that whole situation, I feel like, okay, this character was meant to be something else, but I feel like with current day backlash and some things, I feel like we can't have nice things and we can't just let characters or people see the character for what they are. So like that we can be like, oh, we can just calm our asses down. If she was cut from the movie, it wouldn't even change it a thing either. Overall, for a movie that was set to be Sam's Captain America debut, and the way moving forward for the next Avengers movies, I feel like it focuses too much on trying to touch on loose ends from previous MCU movies and trying to acknowledge something fans have been talking about for years. And also, weirdly enough, in this, I feel like this is the first time I've seen this in an MCU movie that some characters don't remember that these elements happened before, and suddenly when it happens now, it's like, oh, this happened? I've never seen that before. It's not bad, but it's still a decent MCU movie, and I would still rank it in between some of the middle sequels. It's enjoyable, it's still a good time at the movies. Anthony Mackie is still great as Sam Wilson, and also the fact that it's like you see the difference from him going from support character to main role. Like I've seen him play main roles in other movies before, but I feel like in this movie, it would have been great to see him in his own Captain America centric movie instead of trying to cram in other villains and actually try to say, okay, we're trying to bring back ideas instead of trying to have this whole one-sided, okay, we can have this versus this, and that's going to be the main thing instead of actually trying to fix in and tie in some loose ends in one. And follow more of what happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier because everything led off from here, and now we're seeing him go from Falcon to Captain America, and hopefully enough we get to see that next time he shows up. Those are my thoughts about Brave New World, and there is a spoiler video coming too, so stay tuned on that. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. All my social media is down in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.